Hi guys, my name's Alex Wright from FightStorePro.com, and today I'm going to talk to you all about the Raja Thai boxing range, or Raja boxing. Now, Raja is a brand that has been around for a very, very long time. When I first came into this industry in around 2010, it had been going for a long time at that stage. I did have a look on their website earlier to try and get an exact date of when they started, but I actually can't find that information. But I do remember seeing Raja around at a trade show long before I even founded Fight Store in 2010. So I know that they must have been going for at least 20 years-ish, maybe a lot more, but getting that exact information is quite difficult. And that's actually kind of the whole story of Raja. They're a brand that's been around for a very long time, very high quality Thai boxing brand, but have never really made it to the UK in a big way. That is, until now. So let's get started, and I'm going to warn you in advance, spoiler alert, this is one of the most boring reviews I have ever done. And the reason this is going to be one of the most boring reviews that I've ever done is simply there's nothing bad really to say about the Raja range. But there's nothing particularly that interesting to say about the Raja range anyway, and it's all for the right reasons. So we're going to start with the boxing gloves. We have two basic types of boxing gloves from Raja. I've got a 10 ounce here and a 16 ounce. And one has the split thumb, one does not. And that is effectively the only real difference between them. Obviously, apart from the size with these, they are incredibly well constructed, as you would expect from most quality Thai boxing brands. Everything about this glove is bog standard, for Muay Thai that is. The shape of it will be very familiar to you if you've ever used a twins glove or a windy glove or any of the top Thai boxing brands. These guys are not out there to innovate and do anything new. They just do what they do so well. This is a full leather glove. It's got the standard stiff short wrist that is a feature of most standard Thai boxing gloves. The leather is great quality. It's a little softer than the cheaper Thai brands. It's right in line there with twins or with Top King, Windy. Note that I leave Fairtex out of this, but I'll come to this in a moment. The glove itself feels great on, loads of room for a hand wrap. This is a perfect size for a 16 ounce glove. It's got that flat end that you would expect from most Thai boxing gloves, unlike the more rounded end that you would get from a more Western boxing glove. The wrist is relatively short, cinches up quite well, especially once you've got a hand wrap on there. And this is what I was saying. There's not a lot more to say about it. And if you watch any of my reviews of previous Thai boxing gloves, this kind of ticks all the boxes of the best ones. In fact, there's not much between a twins and a Raja glove. In fact, if you change the labels around, it would be very, very difficult for me to actually tell you the difference between the two. And that's from a guy who's been looking at these things for well over a decade. So in short, if you're looking for a great Thai boxing glove and you're familiar with the differences between Thai boxing gloves and Western boxing gloves, then this is a great shout. Now these are kicking at around 120 quid right now, which is under the twins price I hear, kicking around some of the Fairtex pricing, probably in line with a lot of the other high-end Thai brands, and it's worth every penny. I've seen these gloves go from selling at 50, 60 pounds retail to now in the 120s, 150s and beyond mark. And this is just simple price inflation, which has been going on with every type of boxing glove, so it shouldn't be a great shock. Whether you choose the two-tone style or the single-tone style, I would err on practicality reasons to take the single piece, just simply because you don't have the split line on the hand. But largely, I have rarely seen any glove made from Thailand split or come apart due to stitching reasons. So that is more of a usage preference to me than any concern about durability. Most of these gloves, the padding or the wrists will go long before anything to do with the construction goes, but these are going to last you a good few years, even through constant use. A lot of people will change their gloves down to them smelling bad over them breaking down, especially when they're from Thailand. The padding in them, again, very bog standard. For a 16 ounce, it's got plenty of padding in the front. I've never been keen on the thumb position on Thai boxing gloves, but that's because I prefer a Western boxing glove, but the thumb sits quite well. It doesn't curve the wrist like some Thai boxing gloves I have encountered in the past do, but it's got a nice straight wrist when you put it on. And again, there's just not much more I can say about it. It's a great glove. If you're in need of a Thai boxing glove for kickboxing, Muay Thai, etc., this is a good choice. So let's move on. We have the shin guard. Now, Raja make two types of shin guard. They have two basic designs. This is one of them. And at Fight Store Pro, we plumped with this design, which I've got to say is not an original Raja design. This is actually copied from Top King. Raja have their own design boxing shin guard, which I'm going to share a secret with you that Rev Gear copied very, very well. In fact, I've got it somewhere over there if I go and have a look. And that was their original design, which you never ever used to see in the UK at all. And to date, I don't believe I've ever seen the Raja design, the original Raja design in the UK. However, we plumped with this one because it is a lighter weight shin guard, and as Top King are no longer seem to be making their classic design, we think that this is as good as it gets for this design. And this is the modern classic. Now, if you go back and have a look at my reviews and find the Danger shin guard, this is again, because the Danger shin guard was again a copy of the original Top King shin guard, which are now very, very difficult to find in the UK, and the original design impossible, as far as I can find. This is a modern classic. I'm just pushing the straps out the way here so that you can see that this part here is going to fit nicely across his shin, and I'm just going to there. So it comes about halfway across your leg, and then we've got this curving. This is probably a medium, I haven't really looked, but this curves round at your calf, protecting the side of your calves from those kicks. It's got the double padded frontage for protecting your shin bone, and it's got the raised knee protection right there. The straps, the hook and loop design, far superior to the overlapping straps, which most companies have turned away from nowadays, thankfully, because they were terrible. And this is just a modern classic. Can't go wrong, can't fault it. These are semi-leather. The gloves that I've just looked at are full leather. Semi-leather doesn't have much of a downside on shin guards. It's pretty durable. It's far cheaper, and will last as long as you need them. Now, I'm going to shore that up. If you want one pair of shin guards which are going to last a very, very long time, you don't expect to change them for years, I would still possibly look for a set of leather ones. But nowadays, full leather shin guards are going out of fashion at a rate because they're so expensive. So you have got to be prepared to spend nearly twice the money if you want a full leather shin guard nowadays. However, these, great value for money. They're sitting around the £100 mark, I believe. They're again in line with most of the other Thai boxing brands in terms of price. They're in line with most of the other top Thai boxing brands in terms of quality. And they're in line with most of the Thai boxing brands in terms of durability. Now, I said I was going to try and avoid comparing with Fairtex. And again, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through the entire range before I come to that comparative, but keep watching and we'll get there. Moving on, we have the Raja belly pad. Now, like I said right at the start of this is going to be a very dull review. It looks just like a Twins. It feels just like a Twins. It has largely exactly the same design as a Twins. This, I believe, is a semi-leather one. They are durable, they last a long time, and again, there's not really any major downside to semi-leather with a belly pad. The straps are overlapping straps like most Thai-made belly pads are. I think there is an argument for the hook and loop on belly pads also, but it's not something that Raja want to do. This has a ton of padding on the back. If you can see the profile of that, there's a lot more padding than it looks like there is from the front, and that is because it goes a long way back here. And again, I'm sorry that this is a dull review, because Raja they're not a brand that's about innovation. They're a brand that's about durability and quality. They are as standard a Thai brand as you're ever gonna get to see, and they do everything that they do incredibly well. If you want a quality belly pad that's gonna protect you from those shots when you're working on your pads, when you're working on your pad work with a partner, obviously this is gonna be a great choice for you. And lastly, well, second lastly, in fact, we're gonna look at the Raja Thai pad. This is stiff as a board to start with, which says to me it's gonna be incredibly durable. It feels incredibly strong. We've sold a lot of these over the last year, and we've not had a single complaint about them. We haven't heard anyone saying that they're breaking down early or anything like that. And this is exactly what you would expect from a Thai-made Thai pad. This is a straight pad, you can see. It's just a very standard design. And again, I don't want to say the same thing that I've just said about the gloves and the shin guards and the belly pad, but it's hard not to. It is such a bog standard design. But this is not a bad thing. In fact, it's a highly positive thing. If you're a Thai boxing coach and you need a good set of pads, these tick all the boxes. I hear reliably that the twins pads are approaching 200 pounds plus at the moment. These are going at about the 150 mark. They are semi-leather, but again, there's not a lot of downside to semi-leather on this type of product. And a lot of people would probably look at these and assume they were leather because of the quality of the materials are so good. But actually, it's just made so beautifully, and yet there's not a great deal to say about that more. Plenty of padding. They're not too heavy. They're about a midway, I would say. The rivets, solid, handle solid. When you put this to your arm, it's just, this is I believe this will be a large, yeah, it's a large pad. We only ever buy one size here, and it just goes perfectly from my elbow to my wrist. Look at that, that's been just cut spot on. And again, it just goes with the theme of this review, that the Raja range, it's not exciting, it's just good. It's maybe the Volkswagen of Thai boxing. They might not thank me for that, I'm not sure. Lastly, and by no means least, we come to our shorts section. Now, Raja basically have two designs of shorts. I'm not talking about graphic designs, I'm specifically talking here about materials. I'm just trying to pick some out here. So we have two materials, and I'm gonna start with this one. This is what you would expect. This is satin, yeah? I'm not an expert on materials, but this is the material that most people would expect in a Thai boxing short. It's got a lovely glossy applique on the front, some cool funky design on to the side, and it's kind of the mid waistband. And these have been sized in Western sizing. So if you're looking on the size charts or you're looking at the sizing to buy, these are Western. So as small as a 30-inch waist, a medium 32, etc., etc. Unlike many of the Thai brands which do, you know, double XLs, about a medium waist or something crazy like that. These are much easier to understand, and we asked them specifically to size them in Western sizing. This was something that we asked them actually to do for us. So we have this design, but this is the one that's got everyone excited. This is what people are moving towards. Now, this is a very different material. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's very soft, it's very light, and they've got a sublimation design on it, which is absolutely beautiful. And I don't think the pictures on the website kind of do it justice. I think you kind of have to see and feel these to understand how nicely made they are. They've got the applique on the front, they've got the piping, so on and so forth. What can I say about a set of Thai boxing shorts? Well, the material is what makes these different. And I can't really show you that on a video. I can just bring this to you and go, this and this, they're very, very different. There's no plus or minus, I think. I think it's just a personal preference, but this just feels so soft and light. I've never been a big fan of Thai boxing shorts, but I'm gonna say that if I was going to choose between these two to wear, I would definitely be going on this type of material. It's more similar to what's been being made in the MMA field, but it's probably softer again than that, and it's got that Thai flair to it. The designs are beautiful if that's your thing. If you're into plainer things, then you can go on what's in my right hand right here. So that's it. That's Raja. I've been promising all along that I would mention Fairtex in this review. And the reason I haven't mentioned them when I'm doing direct comparisons throughout the range is because I feel Fairtex are one of these brands which are actually slightly different. They're a step outside of what the general Thai boxing community do. When Fairtex started, they actually started with an MMA range at the same time that they did Muay Thai. And albeit they're based in Thailand and they're steeped in Thai boxing, they've obviously had a big history in Thai boxing, they've always been a more innovative company. Their gloves are very different, and that's well documented, my thoughts on Fairtex gloves, but do not make a comparison between Raja and Fairtex. Raja are far more standard, what you would expect from Thai boxing brands. Fairtex are a little different. So I would implore you that if you're making a choice between brands, you can safely say that if you like twins, you're gonna like Raja. If you like Top King, you're gonna like Raja. Perhaps even Yokkao and some of the more modern brands, they've copied the likes of Windy, Top King, Twins. Therefore, you're probably going to like those guys too. But Raja is right in there. Long history, durable, standard Thai boxing. Fairtex more innovative, different in their designs, different in their approach. So that's the one Thai brand probably not to compare to between the two. And our last mention here today, this whole video today has been sponsored by Athlon Rub. This is, in our opinion, the superior version of what everybody would know as Naman oil, which helps with your warm-ups, your warm down, and so on and so forth. You guys will probably know more about this than I, but check out Athlon Rub. It's on fightstolepro.com, and you can check out their website too. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed this review today of the entire Raja range. Obviously, they do lots of sizes, lots of colors, so don't take what's on the bench here as all that they do. Check out fightstolepro.com for more information on the range, and I hope to see you next time.